How we going, everyone? And Atal Baral, you're straight on it straight away, and you've got Uncle Vaughan in there as well. We're going to have a chat about Uncle Vaughan a bit later on. I'm going to bring that question up later. Sports Club, good morning to you and everyone else that's going to join on Live's Hogs vlog. So let's get into it. We're going to roll bumper and get into the talking points first. Right, the pitch talk, and Atal Baral, Uncle Vaughan was disappointed with the extra grass being left out the Gabba pitch. The verdict on that two-day test, Australia versus South Africa. Well, pitches. You can't have test pitches going for 2 days like that in Brisbane, even around the world. Now, I've had a lot of Twitter feeds coming in and saying that the Western media get on subcontinent pitches that last 3 to 4 days when it's really spinning. I love those wickets. I love it when it's spinning because it's always active. There's spins playing. The overs are getting through quickly. There's always action. But when we've just got flat tracks where it's just fast bowlers coming in from one end, day out, that gets quite boring. So subcontinent pitches, I love it when it's turning and the pressure's on the batsman, as long as it lasts for at least 4 days. I want at least 4-day test matches. But this one in Australia, in Brisbane, was the most atrocious pitch I have ever seen in Australia, apart from a Shield game which got called off between WA and Queensland, which I was playing. I think we only bowled 6 overs, but fast bowlers were getting it to take off a good length, and batsmen were really in trouble. Their physical health was going to be tested. This pitch, it was too dangerous to play. It was too quick, and hopefully the Gabba get a rating of 0. Not 1, but 0. It's not good enough. The only positive out of it is both teams had similar attacks to operate on it. Other than that, it just is not a good spectacle for cricket. So Uncle Vaughan will be disappointed. I am disappointed, and a lot of Australian cricket fans are disappointed, and the cricket fans up in Brisbane are disappointed because those who bought tickets on days 3 and 4 expecting a closer contest or a longer contest are going to be fuming with it. So for me, Australia Cricket Board have to get up there and talk to that curator, and that curator's job's just about done for me. Pitch, okay? Pitches, curators, they've got to last at least 4 days. Actually, just before we go to the next point, Shubs, the pitch here in Chattagram, it used to be called Chittagong, was a sensational test between India and Bangladesh. On day 1, it looked as though it was up and down a little bit. It was keeping low. And as a commentator, I thought that it was going to get worse and worse as the day went on, or as the days went on. But on day 5, it became a batting paradise. And if Bangladesh batted better in the second innings of that test match, they could have got over India on this particular test match. That, for me, is a good test pitch. It was difficult on days 1 and 2, got easier to bat on. And for me, it was a good challenge for the bowlers out the back end to try and bowl Bangladesh out. So, yeah, a lot of pitch talk. It's got to last 4 days. Okay, Shubs, next talking point, please. Pant's role. Now, the India versus Bangladesh test match. You had Pujara grafting it out the other end, and India on the back foot. They lost 3 early wickets. Then they sent Pant in to tackle the Bangladesh spin. This is where Pant is very dangerous in Test cricket. He goes after the bowling. He scored out a strike rate of over 100, and he put the pressure back on the Bangladesh bowlers. And all of a sudden, Pujara was able to nudge and push the ball in the 1s and 2s and get off strike as well. But that little cameo from Pant turned the test match around, turned the test match into India's favour. And when I came out following Pant, it made it easier for him because all of a sudden he's starting with those spinners from Bangladesh under a lot of pressure, and he got the momentum going. So for me, Pant out Test cricket is an exceptional talent and vital player in the Indian lineup. One thing that looking at Pant is when you're bowling to him in Test cricket, instead of just having a Test field, I think it might be worth going straight to a T20 field where you have 5 players out, 4 in the ring, and see if he goes after bowling straight away like that. It's a little bit of a different approach, but Test cricket, you have the field in. With his aggression, he can get away with a lot of mistimed shots where he doesn't get away with that in the shorter formats, and that's why he's not playing as much in the shorter formats for India than we would like, simply because the field's spread out. So that's something that Test nations can look at going after Pant early with more defensive fields. What's your thoughts on that? I'd love to see the comments after this live being written down there. Okay, next talking point, please, Shubs. And I love Rishabh Pant. I think he's something special. Now, it's spin to win. The one thing that I really like about India at the moment and why I think they are probably the team that's going to challenge Australia in the Test Championship at the back end, now that they've come up to second, is that they've got good variety in their bowling attack. When their pace bowlers get fully fit, the likes of Bumrah and maybe Shami, I don't know whether Shami will get back in now that Siraj is bowling exceptionally well. But with the depth in pace, when they get fully fit, they have great balance and they complement the spinners. And what I like about the depth of spin of India is that you've got Ashwin and Axar Patel and Jadeja, who are quality all-rounders that give you depth in the batting lineup. So if Jadeja's unfit, Axar Patel comes in. But then if you want to bowl, then it allows you to have 3 seamers out the back end. Or on a pitch like we've got here in Bangladesh, and we're going to Dhaka next, you can play a 3rd spinner, and they play Kuldeep, a left-arm leg spinner. So it's giving plenty of variety there. And on this pitch, having that ability, the pitch here in Chittagong, having the ability to play Kuldeep was a huge bonus, because leg spin on this pitch was the hardest to face in the first 3 or 4 days, and it was good to have that luxury. Bangladesh didn't have a leg spinner, and here at Chittagong, you needed it. So for me, it's spin to win. You've got to have quality spinners in your lineup, and that's why Australia do so well as well. You might think Nathan Lyon, right, he's not picking up wickets as quickly as Ashwin and Axar Patel, but he does a role for Australia. He bowls a lot of overs from one end and allows the quicks to have more rest out the other end, where they can bowl short, sharp spells and maintain their endurance a lot longer, or their physical health a lot longer, where they can bowl quick spells even in the last session of a day because they've had so much rest. Spin is so important for win, whether they're holding pattern or they're picking up wickets. That's my point on that. Okay, Shubs, we finished talking points. A few other people have got on board. What questions have you got for us today? That's what I want to know. I always love this part of Hog's vlog, is getting the questions. Atel Baral, you've worked with 3 giant Indian broadcasters, Viz, Star Sports, Viacom, and Sony. Which is your favourite broadcaster to work for? At the moment, it's Sony, because they're employing me. That's a hard one to say. But look, I just think that we're very fortunate that we've got different broadcasters that want to broadcast the game around the world, and you've got TV rights. If it wasn't for the broadcasters and wasn't for them bartering for the rights to be able to put the game on the TV so that we can see it, cricketers wouldn't be getting paid, and we wouldn't be having the talent out in the game as we do. So it's very important that all these broadcasters stay afloat, keep financial, and keep putting pressure on each other. So one, they're challenging each other to get more money for the game, but more importantly, 2, they're challenging each other to provide better entertainment for you, and that's where they become creative. So for me, it's probably more on the creative side, where I enjoy the competition between the broadcasters around the globe or in India as well. And I think it's good that Viacom have come on board more on the digital space, because that's where a lot of people are watching it now, watching cricket, because they've got to travel to work, at work, they have a little bit of a toilet break, extend the toilet break like I do, and watch a bit more cricket than you do on those type of platforms. Good question there, Artel Baral, and I hope it is all going well in Nepal. And it's good to see Brett Lee up there as the ambassador for the inaugural edition of the Nepal T20 League. There we go. All right, Shubs, you picked that up. Aussie Brett Lee is the brand ambassador of the inaugural edition of the T20, which commences on the 23rd. How good is it? I think it's great. We need cricket to be pushed around the globe. There's so much talent here in the subcontinent, and it'd be great to see the Nepal players on show, and hopefully we'll get a few quality overseas players over there to help out and help grow the game up there, which is more important. And well done, Brett Lee, throwing himself around up there in the mountains of Nepal. Hopefully he does a good job there. Good pick up there, Artel Burrell. Okay. Shavit Sharma, importance of Rishabh Pant. Very, very important. We talked about his batting out the start of the show, but just the way that he comes in and is able to turn the game around at test level is exceptional. And when the games, or when India don't have the momentum and they're behind the 8 ball, he comes out, changes that momentum, puts it in India's favour more times than not. He's got the best average in the Indian cricket team this year, and he is very vital in that test arena. And it's just not his batting, it's also his keeping. He's very acrobatic, he's very quick on his feet, and some of the catches that he took down leg side in this last test match were sensational. He's an athlete. He enjoys the game. The only thing with Rishabh Pant that I want to see right now is an improvement in the white ball format. When the field spread, as we talked about in the at the start of the show, he doesn't seem to have as much success as he does in Test cricket. So for me, he's up there out Delhi Daredevils with Ricky Ponting. I think we'll see a big IPL from Rishabh Pant this year. He'll attack the game differently, and he'll have a different role. And hopefully, Ricky Ponting gets him to open the batting for Delhi Daredevils rather than down the list. Because I think with the power play, with only 2 fielders out, those first 6 overs is where he could really do some damage in T20 cricket. And it's the same in the 50-over game. Try and get him to open there where he can blast away in those first 10 overs with only 2 out. And then the next 30 overs, you can only have 4 out. So he's still got 1 or 2 spaces in the outfield where he can attack and still keep that momentum going. So I think it's a change of role for Rishabh Pant in the white ball format. And that's very similar to what Adam Gilchrist was like. Dominant in Test cricket, open the batting in the white ball, dominant in Test cricket, batting down the order, turning the game on his own back, winning a lot of games for Australia on his own back, and then in the white ball formats, he opened the batting. You need your aggressive batsmen, and you need to put players in roles where they're going to be most effective, and that's how I see Rishabh Pant. Hope you agree with me. Okay, next question. Thanks, Shavette. Shabanka, how are you going? What are some of the challenges you've faced while commentating in this England, India and Bangladesh series so far? Getting the names right sometimes. Now, someone picked up Tajul. I said Taj Mahal the other day when I first got on there when he was first bowling. I didn't mean that. It was a slip of the tongue. And sometimes that happens. And Anjum, I was doing a studio show with Anjum Chopra, wonderful lady, wonderful commentator. And there was a talking point on, and I tried to compliment her on her comment. And I just got a bit of a blank straight away trying to get a name out. So I was calling her Anjum instead of Anjum. So for me, sometimes just getting a little bit tongue-tied with the names. And I think with Westerners, Ashwin, AXA, we say it like that rather than AXA and Ashwin. So they're the things that I'm trying to really work on, because I think it's very important to get the names right. So I don't do it deliberately. I'm working on it, and that's probably one thing. And it's a great challenge, because one, you're learning how to pronounce names in those particular areas the right way, and two, you're getting an understanding of the culture as well, and you're starting to pick up other dialects, so little words that you see here and there. So those are the things. I'll put my hand up. I'm always going to make mistakes and not get it right, but I don't mean to. That's probably the hardest thing with commentary. Next question, please, Shubs. Atal Baral, for which player do you think the IPL franchises will break their bank in the mini auction? This is a tough question. I think a lot of people are going to go after Cameron Green, though he's just dropped off with a little bit of form of late. I'm a little bit worried about that. I don't want Cameron Green to be playing IPL cricket at this stage. I prefer him just to be developing his body and making sure that he's right for the longevity of Test cricket. Mitchell Marsh did that a fair bit. He pulled out of IPL cricket. So I think he's going to be one that's everyone's going to be going hard out. Agarwal, Indian batsman. He didn't have the best of years last year. I don't think he was comfortable up there at Punjab. I think he wanted to leave. So quality Indian batsman. If there's anyone there slightly that has got a reasonable record from the past, I think he'll be one that they'll be going after very hard this year. So they're the two that I think are going to be the players that break the bank this year. But you've got to be very careful when you pick them, because sometimes you get those foreign players that come over and you think they're going to do something special on the big stage of the IPL, and the different conditions sometimes hold them back, and that's what I'm a little bit worried. If you remember Darcy Short, I played club cricket with him back home, and he's from my state. He got a big pay rise or a paycheck from Rajasthan Royals. They thought he was going to do well, and he just struggled against spin. And same with Chris Lynn as well. So you've got to be very careful with the foreign players that you pick up. If I'm looking for a foreign player, I'm looking for someone who's good against spin, and I'm looking for someone who's got extreme pace with the ball. They're probably the two that I'm looking for in overseas players. With Indian players, I'm looking for spin and mainly batters to complement my depth, because it's very hard to pick up a boomerang. You're going to break the bank picking up someone like a boomerang who's a quality fast bowler, and even an Umran Malik. So you've got to be very wise with the way that you spend your money. Good question there, Atal Baral. What's the next question, please, Shubs? We've got one. Shubs has asked, what do you think makes Scott Boland so effective in Australian conditions? His height, line and length, and keeping the batsman guessing by just attacking the off stump. Very much like Glenn McGrath, not trying to do too much, just trying to hit the seam and just hit that line and length. Keeping it simple as possible. And that's the old saying, the KISS principle. If you haven't heard it, it's keep it simple, stupid. That's everything you do in life. Sometimes we overanalyze, and sometimes we overcomplicate things, and it's even in the commentary. That's with the Bangladesh and India series. Sometimes you try and overanalyze the game, and you don't get your point across, and you confuse the audience. So it's just about keeping it simple as you possibly can. And that's what Scott Boland does. It's a good lesson for all cricketers out there. Play to your strengths. Simple as that. Doesn't try and do too much. He knows exactly what he wants to do. We've got another question there, Shubs. Ankur Hanal, Ricky Ponting or MS Dhoni? Who is the better and captain? Better player, I presume. Hang on, someone's rang a bell. Housekeeping, sir. Sorry, we've got housekeeping. Do you want to come in and I'm doing a live vlog, mate. No drama. We don't need any housekeeping, but thanks very much. I'm leaving in about an hour's time. So I'm leaving in an hour's time. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Let's check out? Check out in an hour. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Yep. Anchor, Ricky Ponting or MS Stoney. Let's get back to that. Ricky Ponting, definitely the better batter. Very difficult to, but they play in different roles as well. MS Stoney's a brilliant finisher, so they play in different roles. So that comment's probably none involved in void. Better captain. Ricky Ponting had a wonderful team. MS Stoney had a great team as well. For me, both did exceptionally well. Both have got a fantastic record, and you can't separate them. You cannot separate them. I'd say that MS Stoney probably had more politics to deal with Indian cricket than what Ricky Ponting did, and that probably puts MS Stoney slightly in front of Ricky Ponting. So, and the other thing with Ricky Ponting too, he probably had a lot of cricketers around that were really experienced, that knew their role, knew what to do as well. So he only had to control certain aspects of the game because most of the attitudes of the players, the discipline of the players, the plans of the players, knowing what to do, that they all knew it and they were captaining themselves. So, yeah, it's a tough one, that one. But MS Stoney, just with the extra politics that you might have here in India, probably just puts him in front. But anyway, sorry, Ricky, but that's a hard one. Hard one, Uncle. You've put me on the back foot there. Okay, no drama. Next question, please, Shubs. Trey. Hi, Hoggy, mate. Kuldeep has improved his follow-through, which gives him more res on the ball. Do you see the same? Yes, but where that comes from is, if you remember, he pulled across the front arm like that. That looks as though that's better for a left-hander on the screen, but he pulls across like that. Now he's pulling more down the body in a straight line towards the target. That's getting him up and over. The bowling hand's coming a lot higher, and he's going towards the target that he wants to land the ball. That's why he's getting more revolutions on the ball and drift and drop. The sad thing for Kuldeep Yadav is you've got the likes of Axar Patel, Ashwin, Jadeja, who are batting all-rounders and are quality spinners on subcontinent conditions. So for him to get a go in this particular region is for them to be batting out 7 and 8, and the conditions suit a third spinner to play. I don't think you'll see Kuldeep playing in front of those other two while they still want to play Test cricket and don't want to retire. But Kuldeep has improved, and that's what I like about it. Everything in life, you're always looking to grow, and that's what Kuldeep has done. Good question, Trey. And I love the way that you've just analysed that. Vicky Singh. Hi, Hogs. I like that. Hogs. What do you make of England's approach? Will it survive the Indian conditions? Look, I'm really enjoying the England approach. What it is backing yourself. You've got good intent. And if you always got good intent with everything you do in life, generally you have the faith that it will come off. Generally you'll succeed, or the results will come. It's not about having the it's about having wins and losses, but every now and then they are going to lose a game playing this style of cricket. But one thing in Pakistan that I really liked is they had one innings where they were scoring out more than a strike rate of 100, and then the next innings conditions were quite tough, and they were able to adjust to those conditions. That's what I like about the England approach. That's why I think it will survive, because they know the times when they can be really ultra aggressive. They know the times when they have got to try and put pressure on the opposition teams. But when conditions aren't conducive to that style of play, they've been able to adapt and find another way to go about it. And talking about that, I just want to just bring up Zakir from Bangladesh against Aksa Patel. Just outside the off stump, Aksa Patel was getting it to really turn out of a small rough patch on a good length. Zakir nearly got bamboozled a couple of times by Aksa Patel on that good length. But every time Aksa Patel bowled a decent ball out of that rough, the very next ball, Zakir was trying to charge him and put pressure on Aksa Patel to get him off that line and length. And he did it a couple of times, and he did force Aksa Patel to move away from that particular area and bowl something different the following ball. That's what I liked about Zakir's approach, and that's the way that England try and approach opposition spinners. So I think it's always going to survive. Very good point, Vicky Singh. I absolutely love it. And hogs, I really enjoy that little word as well. Okay, next question, please, Shubs. Arjun Sobti, how are you, Arjun? Hi, Hoggy. With the World Cup around the corner, will India be able to figure out their squad and playing 11? I think firstly they've just got to hope that their injuries become covered, or become fully fit. The likes of Boomer definitely needs to be there, but I think they're chopping and changing a lot. For me, what we've seen here in Bangladesh, I think it might be time to bring in something like Ishan Kishan, who opened the batting out the top. I'd rather see Pant have an opportunity out the top because I think he's more dominant in he could be more dominant in those power play overs. If I'm bowling against an opposition team and I've got Pant there rather than Ishan Kishan, I'm a little bit more worried about Pant than Ishan Kishan. And I don't mean to put Ishan Kishan down in any way there because he's got a lot of talent, but I just think Pant's just got a bit more aura about him at the moment that will put pressure on there. So I think they need to have someone that's dominant out the top order, that's got a high strike rate, takes the bowling on with Rohit Sharma, have Virat Kohli at 3, and then sort out that middle order where it can be a little bit more aggressive. And try and get Hardik Pandya in there as well with that all-round ability. So then you've got a couple of spinners of all-round ability, a fast bowler of all-round ability as well. So you've got good batting depth as well as good bowling depth. So for me, if everyone can get fully fit for the World Cup, I think India will be favourites. But I think for them to be favourites, they've got to get a different opening batter with Rohit Sharma. And again, Shikhar Dhawan, wonderful record, wonderful player, but the game's changed. Opposition teams are taking the game on. Teams like England are trying to have higher strike rates. So you need to follow that pattern. And to do that, you've got to have certain players in certain positions. So they need a more aggressive opener with Rohit Sharma. That's probably the only change I would have because I've got good balance of all-rounders in the middle. June, that is a very good question. I think this is Paveen Kumar. How are you going, Paveen? Good morning from India. Good morning to you too, mate. Who is the best sweep player batter you've played against? How did you counter it? Cheers. For me, the two hardest, and this is short format cricket. Glenn Maxwell, always struggled against him because he could reverse sweep as well as conventionally sweep. Dinesh Karthik, when he went to the sweep shot against me, he was very difficult to bowl to because he's small, but he reached out with a sweep shot, got me to bowl a little bit shorter, but he knew that, then charged me and used his feet to me and tried to hit me down the ground. So Glenn Maxwell and Dinesh Karthik. The other person was Kevin Peterson. The reason why I found him hard is because he'd be able to sweep me off that good length, and then I'd be slightly shorter, and he'd be able to play as a smaller batsman by crouching down but still have the power on it to hit me for 6 off that crouch position, make me bowl fuller again, and then play the reverse sweep. So those 3 players were the ones who I felt were the best sweepers because They played the sweep shot, but then they were able to put me off that length that I wanted to bowl, and then they were able to capitalise on that change of length and find another scoring option. So that's why they're the best sweepers. There's other players out there that can sweep, but you can bowl a little bit shorter, but they don't have the courage or they don't have the armoury to be able to take you on with that change of length or that change of line. So those three players are the best of sweeps. That's a very good question, Paveen. Simpler. Yeah, KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Simpler. Hello, Brad. What you make the future of leg spinners? Should kids grow up learning leg spin? The king would have loved it. Yes, Shane Warne would have loved it. Look, if you've got the ability to bowl leg spin, I'd definitely do that rather than off spin. Off spin is so hard. If you've got your wrist there, you've got to bowl your wrist as such to get the overspin on it. A lot of spinners who try and bowl off spin undercut the ball with the palm facing up, and you're never ever going to get the revolutions on it. But as leg spinners, it's easier to get the revolutions on it. But when you've got kids that are trying to bowl leg spin as juniors, it's very hard to get that trajectory where you can bowl a little quicker because it's up and over, and the ball sits up a lot more bowling leg spin in junior cricket. And a lot of junior players, because of that extra bounce, sit back and try and pull you and cut you. But as you grow older and the batsmen grow taller, they aren't able to sit back like that and play those pulls and cuts off that same length because one, they've grown and all of a sudden it starts hitting their knee roll rather than their chest. But two, because the bowler's grown as well, there's more zip on the ball, more drop, and more revolutions on that ball, which puts pressure on the bowler batsman. So for me, coaches out there who are coaching young kids, you've got to keep encouraging them and keep telling them, yes, you're going to find it difficult as a junior because of the things that I've just said. But as you get older, because you've been bowling it and you've been learning ways to try and control those type of batsmen, you are going to be more of a threat when it comes to older age cricket. So for me, keep encouraging the kids to bowl leg spin. We've got another question there, Shubs? No, that's all for today. So as you can tell, I was in a hotel. Old Joe there, room service or hospitality, came in to try and service my room, but I'm going in about an hour to go back to Dhaka. But thanks very much for joining me. Thanks for loving the game of cricket, and good luck to India and Bangladesh in the final test match here in Dhaka. And hopefully the MCG over there in Australia has a better wicket than what we've seen out the Gabba. And England and Pakistan, I'm loving that contest. Aggressive cricket against a more defensive cricket. So how's that test series going to end up? Are England going to win the third test? I think they're in the box seat. So watch out for that one. Let's see how that ends up in a couple of days' times. Good luck to everyone, and enjoy your backyard cricket. Enjoy your club cricket, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for another Hogs vlog.